Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So we are starting to see some life in the market yet again, which is very exciting to see after, well, let's just be honest, a very rough time. Right now, we do see Bitcoin up about 8.25% in the last 24 hours, and I love to see Ethereum actually outperforming Bitcoin up about 14.27%. It's too early to call anything right now. I will say that right now. But one thing is clear. The relief rally that we have been talking about for a few weeks now is starting to become a reality. We have a few levels that we do need to clear. I'll outline them in this video as well. But we do see across the board a lot of altcoins, significantly jumping. XRP up about 14.2% almost. This is what the 24-hour span looks like. Obviously, some outliers here. We do see Flare up about 30%, Ondo up 23.25%, Pendle up about 22% as well. So just some nice gains across the board, and we could even see the market cap of crypto up about almost 10% on the daily. Now, like I said, it is too early to call anything right now, but I have been focused on XRP. I've been focused on a lot of altcoins to rebound to, some previous support zones. And so far, we did regain $2, which was the big support zone that we were watching to actually hold up on the previous swing down. And once we did lose it, a lot of people started to panic. Now, the main thing that I'm really kind of looking at is just higher highs, which again on the chart, I'll outline the target that we really want to focus on. But the 24-hour trading volume up about, 32%, $8.9 billion. Love to see it. And even across the board for like Bitcoin and stuff, the trading volume has been extremely significant today. We can even see that around Ethereum, $37 billion. Solana, almost 8 billion. So there's a lot of trading happening right now, especially even around like the volatility, because again, everything has been extremely volatile with the tariff discussions, the trade war. But for the most part, I'm really kind of looking at just a sea of green, which is a good change because, for the last couple of days, it's been a sea of red. And even exchanges are up significantly as well because of all the trading volume. Even if we go back over here to the exchange listings, we could see, Binance is seeing almost $29 billion worth of 24-hour trading volume. And we can see it going down the list that there's a lot of trading happening. And even if we filter this by, top trading volume, now this first one, it's probably just false volume. But I'm mainly looking at like Binance, EchoBit, pretty good. BTCC also very good. And, as you guys can see, just trading volume is picking up in a big way. Now, I did say, and this goes back to the 6th, so just about like 3-4 days ago, I said tariff announcements on a Sunday while the stock market is closed classic. These markets are being heavily manipulated. We just witnessed Jim Cramer flip peak bearish for tomorrow while markets sold off into the weekly close. I think now is the time to take a moment to think logically. We are now in extreme fear and a bearish environment. We are either seeing the bottom here or close to it. Now, this was the post from Jim Cramer that I did, outline. And now it's kind of comical because 3 days prior, he was talking about Black Monday, market crash over Trump tariffs, rivaling record 1987 collapse. And then 3 days later, he makes a post saying, best day since 2008 if you stayed the course. Excuse me? This is the same person within a 72-hour difference. You can't make this stuff up. But outside of this, right, we know that the market sentiment has been extremely rough. There was actually a great post by Sergito, and we have weekly market sentiment poll 4/6 to 4/13. We'll do this every Sunday. Please vote. Now, on the 6th, leading into, of course, the market open, we have a week from today. Bitcoin plus Ethereum both higher, Bitcoin up, Ethereum down, Bitcoin down, Ethereum up, Bitcoin plus Ethereum both lower, and it was 45.7%. And we're talking about almost 6,000 votes. I know that it's not a very significant amount, but it's still the fact that sentiment around this market and even around stocks has been absolutely killed. What's crazy about this is, we just saw the fear and greed index over the weekend hit like 15. We also saw like 15 here as well. Stocks hit single digits. I think the lowest I saw it was around like 3, which was just insane to me. So that's how we knew that it was peak bearish territory, and we knew that something was going to happen. Now, this is just a relief rally right now until we can officially confirm it to be the big rally back to the previous highs and, you know, potentially to new all-time highs as well. Now, Lunar Crush has been posting a lot of insights regarding social engagement, and this is something that I've noticed as well. It's something that's actually very beneficial, owning like a YouTube channel around crypto, or even just being like an influencer. I hate that word, but, you know, just being a creator in the space, you could see the engagement drop off a bit. So we do see here social engagement on posts about cryptocurrencies just hit the lowest point in the last 365 days. And on top of that, we have you noticed how quiet it has been across crypto? Posts mentioning specific cryptocurrencies are nearing the lowest point this year, with total activity at the lowest point since August of 2023. We'll be watching closely for community activity to return. And yeah, I think that it's actually very important to focus on this because it shows us that a lot of interest around crypto is being, you know, lost. And it also shows us that a lot of people are actually leaving the space. And, you know, I've been really kind of watching the post over the last couple weeks, you know, just kind of be extremely negative. Even the comments on the channel, I see a lot of your guys' comments, very negative comments, very, you know, frustrated comments as well. And I get it, right? We don't want to see things stretch out and just drag, because that's exactly what ended up happening from roughly January up to now. And again, we're not in, you know, a good area to say, yeah, we're confirmed. That's the bottom. That's it. We're now on the way to the upside, right? We don't have enough price data to actually confirm that, but this is a very good start. And I actually think that regaining major support like $2, for an example, on XRP is a very good, you know, start. But on top of that, we do have just in, Canada agrees to negotiate new trade deal with the United States. This started to happen earlier today, and it started to really kind of become a big deal because what happened was China also potentially agreeing to a new deal. Trump also did announce that he's going to be pausing tariff discussions, which is very good. And it just shows us that, you know, they don't want to completely nuke the markets, and that they're actually going to start to, you know, take things into account to actually start rebounding the markets as well, which is very good. Because before, everyone was worried, like, how much pain could we, you know, endure before we say it's too much? And it feels as if we just hit that point, and now we're going to see the big pivot, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And it's something that I've been mentioning here and there over the last roughly like 2 months. I said that we're not going to see anything change until we see the pivot, or, you know, just a complete pause on tariff discussions, which we're now starting to see, which is very good. And this is also happening around the same exact time that JP Morgan is talking about how the Fed may have to cut interest rates before the next meeting. We don't know if this is going to happen or not, but a lot of people are looking at what the Fed might do next and how it could affect the markets. Again, if we do see the rate cuts, which is exactly what a lot of people have been saying the tariffs are all about, is, you know, Trump forcing a hand, you know, then yeah, markets could definitely see a big boom to the upside. Again, we have to watch, wait, and see what happens around the Fed. It's actually one of the biggest indicators around what happens next with the market. So we definitely have to focus on what the Fed does next. But outside of that, I still think that the market's going to rebound in a huge way. And it's something very similar to what I said in a video where I did use a clip from Raoul Paul's YouTube channel, because he said maybe, just maybe, it was this easy. And he's actually talking about the M2 money supply here, right? With Bitcoin. Now, it's not just about Bitcoin. It's actually all about crypto in general. But we have the global M2 money supply and then the 12-week lead, because it is a 12-week lagging factor. And then we have Bitcoin. Now, typically, when we start to see the M2 supply going absolutely crazy, as it has been doing ever since about the end of 2024, you know, Bitcoin has been lagging behind. And if this is the case, if we are going to see Bitcoin do the same thing that it has always done, which is follow the M2, then we would be looking at about $120,000 very, very soon for Bitcoin. This could very well be the start of $120,000, $140,000 Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this by the end of this year. And I think that we probably top out this year as well for crypto. We have to see what happens and how the charts are trading towards the end of the year and see where the, you know, sentiment is, because if we are getting into euphoric stages and, you know, Bitcoin is nearing like 120, 140K and it's, you know, towards the end of the year, then yeah, I do think that we're going to be hitting that topping point around that time. But outside of this post, we also saw this one as well, because these are both from Global Macro Investor. And we do see some context for everyone. Tech stocks are currently the most oversold since COVID. And only 7 other times since 1988 have we seen more than 55% of stocks within the NASDAQ 100 trading with a 14-day RSI below 30. For an example, August of 1990, Iraq war and oil spike, 1998 of August as well, Russian default, LTCM, and then September 2001, 9/11, October of 2008, Lehman Brothers, August of 2011, US debt downgrade and Eurozone debt crisis, August of 2015, RMB devaluation, and then of course March of 2020 with COVID. And yeah, these are the major oversold levels in which we did start to have that massive rebound as well. Now, sometimes you start to see a little bit of an additional sell-off before the big rebound, but eventually we do see the big rebound. And I do think that we're going to see that here again with the Trump tariffs, where, you know, we kind of have a very similar setup to like COVID. I think that the markets are going to get very, very volatile in a bullish way over the coming weeks. We just have to see some significant levels being targeted on Bitcoin. I'll talk about XRP as well here in a second, but we also look at volatility, and we have here from Income Sharks, historically buying after the largest times of volatility has been a profitable trade. This is only the 4th largest day of volatility for the S&P 500, and here we actually have going all the way back to 2008. We have 2020. We also have like the mid 2024 level. And then of course we do have 2025. Now I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I did max out my Roth IRA recently, which does include, you know, some of the S&P 500, a large portion of the S&P 500, I should say, mainly around like the Mag 7. And I did that because I felt as if the markets were extremely oversold. And, you know, with a Roth IRA, you don't really care about short-term pain or anything like that. So it's more so of a long-term hold. But, you know, I saw it as a huge buy opportunity. And I think that even around crypto, we still have some great buy opportunities out there. And I think now is probably the best time to really kind of lock in, because still everyone's like, this is a dead cat bounce. This is going to be sold off. We're going to see more tariff discussions happening later this week. They're looking at China as well. And these things could happen, right? Like we could have, you know, just a dead cat bounce here and we could sell off, you know, going later into the week. The thing that I'm looking at here when it comes to like XRP is the fact that we just retested a macro trend line, and this is more so I think on the 3-day. I was looking at this on the 3-day. So yeah, this is more so on the 3-day, going all the way back to like COVID, or maybe it was on the 3-week. I know it was on one of these charts. Yeah, it was on the 3-week. So looking at the 3-week here, this is a macro trend line that we did just recently retest on XRP. And looking at this on like the weekly, there's a fair value gap here as well that we just completely filled, going off of the wick from the week of November 18th and also the week of February 3rd. This is a great zone to fill. And now we're starting to look as if we are gaining some support right around roughly $1.90, $1.91. Now, like I said, I want to actually see us flip $2 and roughly 13 cents. That is the support zone that we were actually really kind of holding, like $2.07, but this is like that additional support level, which, you know, would clear all of the previous support since the original push into like December 2nd. This would allow us to actually build a floor around this support zone and then continue higher. Now on the high, the main thing that I'm looking at here is, and I do actually have an arrow pointing to it, is clearing these previous lower time frame highs from like the middle of March. We want to actually clear $2.45. The main thing here is looking at wicks. So $2.60 is the main target here on the upside push. But again, the big signal of that upside push happening would be breaking over $2.13 and actually getting a daily close over it, or even a 3-day close, to really kind of confirm it. So again, we have a little bit more work to do, and we're not just yet out of the woods. But I do think, like I said, this is a very good start. And the same goes for like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been in this range for a bit of time. And, you know, we still aren't out of the woods yet, but we have been holding on to that 78 point, roughly 3K support zone, which is a wick going back to the, you know, 3-day of February 27th, and then also support from March 8th and March 11th. And now we have that support still holding here. Now, again, similar to XRP, the big focus here is actually clearing the previous highs. 87.8K will be a very, very good signal of Bitcoin starting to have that upward swing. And then from that point on, we mainly look at clearing these support zones. So 92 point roughly 2K. And then after that, we want to clear out this previous resistance around roughly 99.6K. So ultimately, we want to get to 100K again on Bitcoin. That would be a huge signal of bullish sentiment returning and momentum picking up around Bitcoin. But until then, we just have to take it one day at a time and be a little bit more patient. I get it. We don't, want to wait here, but the main thing is that this is all about patience. And even when it comes to the market where everyone's, panicking, they're hysterical, it's best to really kind of just sit back, relax, and, just let the market do what the market does, which is, it shakes everyone out that does have emotions tied to their money. And those people that get shaken out typically buy back higher. Like, I know for a fact that there's probably a lot of people, and if we actually look at this on the daily, there's probably a lot of people selling off in between these red candles all the way down to the lows. And now they're looking at this and they're saying, I hope that this doesn't continue higher. I hope it doesn't continue higher because I will then have to buy back higher. And you don't want to be in that situation. So in my opinion, when we really think about what's happening here, this could very well be the beginning stages of that big relief rally that I've been talking about. Now, initially, it's just a relief rally until we clear the highs. And then we have that confirmation of a big rally beginning. And that will take us to our new all-time highs and probably the actual top of this cycle for the, entire market. And the good news is that, yes, Ethereum is starting to bounce back in a big way, and it's actually outperforming Bitcoin, which could also be a slight indicator that alt season could be coming. So we're going to watch that closely over the next couple weeks, and I'll keep you guys posted. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, turn notifications on, if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.